Wonder Woman 1984 stars Gal Gadot and it's directed by Patty Jenkins, the woman who also directed the first Wonder Woman. So, of course, when I heard this news, I was pretty excited that we're getting a sequel, although it was pretty obvious because that movie made fucking bank. And here we are. Amidst and almost, and we're still in the pandemic, but yeah, I feel kind of iffy that it's on HBO Max. Um, and the fact that I let the other movies going to HBO Max and not going to theaters, which scares me. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Wonder Woman 1984. If I liked it, if I hate it, if I just thought it was okay. So let's get into it. Straight off the bat, I'll talk about the negatives. This movie has some problematic shit in it. Look, I'm not the wokest of people, and so I can't really speak upon what was problematic, but I will say there's some shit where it's like, oh, that's a little iffy. Like when a scene where they travel the world and they get to the location. There's some lines in there that's really iffy. And also they do something with the artifacts and they mention a certain group of people. And I didn't find it iffy, but on Twitter and online, some of my family members are like, I'm not sure if they handled that particular item pretty well. And the last thing that was pretty iffy was there's a scene that happens with Lord Maxwell, played by Pedro Pascal, and with Kristen Wiig. Kind of surprised they're not canceling that scene a lot, because you would think now in this day that would get canceled, but people weren't talking about that. Even though I was like, yeah, that scene where he went to there with her to do this and that, it would be kind of iffy. But I'm kind of glad no one really gave a shit. So, yay. Aside from that, some of the CGI is still wonky. And I say still because they're at the third act of the first Woman, it was like, oof, you could totally tell the CGI. Around the middle, it's like, yeah, this is CGI, and it's still, yep, you can still see where it breaks through here and there. It took me out of the movie, not for too long, but it did take me out for a bit. Another thing that I didn't think worked as much, I think, is that when Steve is brought back, and you guys will learn how, his role was kind of pointless. You could have taken him out, not deal with that storyline, and this movie could have been shorter, and it could have been a little bit more tighter. That was your thing. Don't get me wrong, it's cool to see Chris Pine because he's one of the best things of that first Wonder Woman interact with Diana. They have some cool bandanas involved with some cool action scenes. But overall, everything was like, yeah, you could have not had him in this movie. You could have saved him for the third one for like a cooler reason or a better reason, or just I don't know. But yeah, the more thing, Steve was kind of pointless in this movie. The other thing, I know this movie takes place in 1984, but considering where we live now in this day and age, this movie would have been so much better in the present times. Yes, I know, Lord Maxwell, and I keep bringing it up because we're going to get to him in a bit. He's basically like a Donald Trump-like character, except he's not really, the rapist and the lying and he's not really Trump. He's like he has a spirit of Trump in a way, as in like television host and this entrepreneur and a businessman and all that kind. The reason I say that because there's a lot of things that involve geopolitics and like this fame-like personality in him. I'm not saying it should have been Trump. It should have been, if this movie took place in modern day, it would have been better because it would have been not grounded because all we had in the first one, but it feel a bit more like it could have taken place in our actual world, which I think could have been better. I get it. I get we're in this realm. Hopefully, we're gonna transfer to the 90s after fucking 2010s into 2020s. I know in this realm of like, oh my god, the 80s were so cool. Look, I love me some 80s music. I love hearing I Need a Hero, not just the Shrek 2 version, but also the Bonnie Clyde version. I mean, that's her name. I'm not sure. But like, I don't know. I think because of Stranger Things, well, no, I don't really like Stranger Things. It's just kind of, it put out my 80s love out, and then it just kind of died. I didn't care this was in the 80s. I was like, oh yeah, TV, hairstyle. Oh, there's one scene with Kristen Wiig in the 80s. I'll say that. I was like, oh, you know what? Okay, I'll accept this. But I was just like, I get it, 80s nostalgia, but hopefully, good thing the third one's gonna take place in modern day. My final critique, well, not even critique, not even a real fucking critic, I'm just the guy who likes talking movies. My final issue with Wonder Woman 84 is that yeah, Pat needs to learn how to develop villains way better. Don't get me wrong, this villain is way better than fucking Ares and just, you will be bad, Diana, and then fucking Thunder. It's way better than that. But it's just the villain in this movie I liked because he's not really a villain. More like, and he's not a straight up bad guy, but he is like the bad guy of this story. Patty just needs more help developing antagonists and bad guys. Because even though this one was way better and I actually enjoyed it way more than fucking Ares, it still needed a bit more help. And specifically the performances. Like, there is a scene with Pedro where he is kind of like Ares. He's just shouting things in the air! And it's just like, well, that's a trademark of Patty that she needs to fix. And I hope she gets it, and I think she'll fix it soon in her directing career, and I'm still looking for what she does next. But yeah, the villain, Lord Maxwell. If I don't get my positive, because I talked about my shit about Lord. Now I'm talking about. Now I talked my shit about Lord Maxwell. That was my positive for Lord Maxwell. He's actually a good character for like the first two acts, because you kind of see where he's coming from. You kind of see how he's like doing in life, his personal life. And you kind of see what's his motivation, and you kind of get behind him. Not all the time, but you kind of get behind him. It's not really till the third act, back to negative, is where it's like, oh, well, here are the cracks for his character. But his character kind of has like a really touching moment with someone. I don't want to spoil it, but it's really touching, and I got teared up. I teared up. I was like, oh shit, like that was pretty good, Patty. Plus you didn't usually make them more batty, but overall, yeah, Lord Maxwell was a way better villain than Ares. He's a bit more developed. And, yeah, it could have been cool seeing him more sinister. But at the end, he was the villain the story needed, and that's what I really appreciated. And I want to go about the story now. Now, people are talking shit that this movie is cheesy, and it's out of its time. And that's why I love it. It's cheesy, and it's out of its time. This movie really reminded me of the first two Superman movies starring Christopher Reeve, I forgot his name, but, Richard, I'll figure it out. But because there's some scenes where Diana is literally just helping people. And I fucking love that. And I love this cheesy aspect of the 80s where like businessmen are the antagonist. And it's about taking over the world. And it's just, not that taking over the world movie doesn't get made, but it's just, we don't have superheroes with this much heart anymore, you know? The last movie we got with this kind of like superhero with a heart form was Spider-Man 2, not Far From Home. Although I fucking love it. I'm saying like in a more personal level, Spider-Man 2 directed by Sam Raimi, that was the last movie I felt. Not that, what I mean by heart is that it was straight up personal driven character, and it was like really emotional. Because Captain America 2 is a hardcore personality story, a personal story when it comes to Winter Soldier. Not that it didn't have heart, but you know, love and caring isn't really what goes on when you're fighting against a Russian bad guy with the most patriotic character in comic books of all time. But what I mean by that is that Wonder Woman in 1984 reminded me of those olden days of superheroes, and I really fucking enjoyed that. We just don't get that anymore at all. Like, there's some scenes in Homecoming where he's helping people. That was nice. I noticed that deleted scene where Spider-Man is helping to make sure they don't get robbed, and not necessarily people. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 has some good scenes where he's helping out people. Like, it's just little shit like that, where it's like helping out like the community, community or people just needing help. I really just fucked with that. The pacing of this movie, it is long, but I didn't feel like it dragged. I understood why certain things were there. Sure, some things could have been chopped up, but I feel like the pacing worked well for the entire story. Speaking of story and Pedro and all that, everyone's actually pretty good. I even like Kristen Wiig. Not that I never didn't, but when I heard Kristen Wiig, I was like, I don't know. Like, I only seen a little bit of dramatic stuff. I actually put it up. No, she put off Cheetah, in my opinion. The costume of Cheetah was alright. I didn't think it was trash like how everyone else did. But I thought she pulled it off for the role she was given. Pedro Pascal, I'm a little biased on him, okay? Motherfucker is Latino. He's the Mandalorian. Agent Pena. The bad guy in fucking Kingsman 2. I've loved this guy before he was Mandalorian. But I gotta say, I really enjoyed him as Lord Maxwell. And plus, it was just nice seeing him and doing something aside from Mandalorian. Even though he's in that Netflix We Are Heroes movie, which I probably will check out. But yeah, I thought for the role he's given, he did a pretty good job, especially in that third act. And again, I want to go into the third act. This third act is far more fucking better than that first Wonder Woman movie. This one just connects all circles. And I was just like, thank God Patty nailed it. Because that third and first was like, ooh, I don't know. But yeah, she nailed it. I'm just really happy that, studios that probably didn't intervene with her this time, because she did confirm. Studio Jeff Johnson was like, oh, we can make the third act from the original movie a little bit better. So yeah, I really enjoyed Wonder Woman 1984 overall. One thing too, Hans Zimmer, you slick motherfucker. Oh my God. Great score. Absolutely great score. There is a sky scene where I'm pretty sure he pulled off a song already made, but there's a sky scene around entering the third act, and it was fucking awesome. I was like, what the Superman flying scene in the original did for Christopher Reeve, this Wonder Woman flying scene will do for Gal Gadot. And I really fucking love that so much. Overall, man, I dug this movie because it felt like the olden golden days of the superhero movies. And I really love this movie because it felt like the Superman movies from like the early days from Christopher Reeve, I really dug that feeling because we don't get those kind of movies where it's like cheese and heart. And that's why I loved it. Don't get me wrong, this movie could have been way better without a doubt. But overall, I really liked Wonder Woman 1984. I thought it was a fun time. And I know that word fun is like being thrown around. But sometimes people just need something fun. Like Fast and Furious 9. I'm not going there to see Citizen Kane. I'm not going in to watch I just want something dumb, fun, and cheesy. And occasionally hear Dom say, family. I just need something to get my mind out. And that's why I really dug this movie. And being honest, 7 out of 10. That's my honest score. That's how much I liked it. And that's not a diss. It's just like, I just had a really fun time with Wonder Woman. What did you guys think of Wonder Woman 1984? Do you guys hate it? Do you guys like it? You guys in between? Let me know down in the comments below. Until next time, see ya.